this whole men provided, women say that very, very candidly, not understanding that men have actually never provided individually. Men have provided as a community. There's always been a tribal approach to relationships. There's always been a community approach to relationship. So if you do the research on how people even came about getting together, women came from families. There was never a man that had all the resources, met a woman, and then absorbed all of her debt or whatever. That's never how it's been. Families came together. So when you see men providing, as we say, they had jobs women couldn't have, but they were building families. That's the only difference now, to where people ain't doing that no more. We have individualism now. So when you meet a woman, current day, even if you meet a woman, she probably doesn't have a family. She comes from a dad that you can talk to, because what's supposed to happen is he's supposed to be getting to know her and then figuring out how his family and their family are going to build.
Do black men and women today even need traditional gender roles, or are they holding us back?
Okay. It's a complicated answer. Mostly because we've been so indoctrinated into gender roles that it's just kind of like the fabric of the relationships that we have now. But I do believe that a lot of that is a little outdated, mostly just because the dynamics between men and women have changed so much over the decades. Women work more, and women are not these domestic people anymore. Like a lot of us are. But when I say that, I mean, we have to work and we're tired after work as well. And if both people are working in the household, both people should contribute to the labor in the household, and it shouldn't just be on the woman. And womanly duties are just human duties. So I think that some things can be tweaked depending on the relationship dynamic, but so many things have changed. Society has changed. The way people live has changed. So we do have to kind of tweak that a little bit. Some of it is outdated for some people.
I kind of agree with Bo. I feel like it's dependent on your situation. Um, in today's society, like Bo was stating, most people work, especially most black families, right? And not just a part-time job. We both work full 40 hours or more per week with our children. So I think that traditional roles is just dependent on the lifestyle that you have. Now, some women may still want to come home and only be the one that cooks and does laundry and takes care of the kids. But the reality of the situation is that men are not bringing in the majority of the income. So they're not the ones paying the majority of the bills for. We split that, so it only makes sense that now those roles are changed where we also split the household duties as well. So I don't think it's a should we or shouldn't we. I don't think we have the luxury of it anymore.
Yeah. Um, where I get confused with this topic is that the concept of traditionalism, I think, is just a term because women have always worked, like always. That's actually not a new thing. The capacity that they work now is different. It's more applicable to where they're earning a lot more, because even, especially if you want to keep it in our community, the women of yesteryear used to work in other people's homes, do laundry, things of that nature. So they may have made, let's say, $5 a day compared to their husband making 40. Now it's more even. And so I guess where I get lost is, you can always create the household the way you want it, but earning more money seems to now create this idea that, well, we need to change the trajectory of how we function in a relationship. And I guess that's where I get a little lost, because there's never been a time where women have not worked. They've always worked, always, always. So to not have a job or facilitate any kind of work is a fantasy. That's just not how things have ever really been done.
Yeah, I agree with True. I think that seeing as how the economy isn't based on like a pay scale that's relevant to masculinity, so you could be the most feminine woman and make 10 times more than your husband. I don't think that should be the metric that we base everything off of, but I do think that a masculine and feminine exchange has to occur within a relationship. So that would require some form of, it might not be the most rigid, but some form of a structure that allows those energies to coexist in a proper context, in a proper way. So the answer would be yes, but it would need to be retweaked just for, like, because you can't just be a strong physical man and make the most money in the world. It really don't work that way, you know.
In what ways do you feel that it should be retweaked?
Just in regards to, because all right, you a doctor, right? And you make more than your husband, so you now the breadwinner. Do you now want him to uh you gonna start cutting the grass? You gonna go and do like the heavy lifting, the typical like masculine chores within the home? You now the disciplinarian full time. You know, like, does that switch your entire position, or is it just in the finances? Is what I mean by routine.
Okay, see, I thought you were a different direction with that. Because if we're being honest, there are women that are in relationships that do cut grass, right? That do the heavy lifting. There are couples in relationships where the woman is the disciplinarian and the man is not. So I don't feel that money necessarily has something to do with it. I think it's the hours and the type of work that both genders now put in. And I see that you guys continue to talk about like men and they're making less money, so now the woman, it's the thing, it's all about like the man. But the argument is, are there traditional roles, right? And the traditional role of a man was to provide and take care of the household and pay all of the bills. So if the average man today is not able to do his traditional role, then should we expect women, or is it even realistic that most women would just have the traditional role of working and also doing everything that a woman is supposed to do? Or should it be tweaked where we both put in the same amount of energy?
I don't believe
I
your
think
opinion is accurate all the way around, Ty, because, and then maybe it's just the way I'm hearing it, maybe it's the way we say it. This whole men provided, women say that very, very candidly, not understanding that men have actually never provided individually. Men have provided as a community. There's always been a tribal approach to relationships. There's always been a community approach to relationship. So if you do the research on how people even came about getting together, women came from families. There was never a man that had all the resources, met a woman, and then absorbed all of her debt or whatever. That's never how it's been. Families came together. So when you see men providing, as we say, they had jobs women couldn't have, but they were building families. That's the only difference now, to where people ain't doing that no more. We have individualism now. So when you meet a woman, current day, even if you meet a woman, she probably doesn't have a family she comes from, a dad that you can talk to, because what's supposed to happen is he's supposed to be getting to know her and then figuring out how his family and their family are going to build. They would typically provide for that household to where they can go look at homes. I'm going to buy you guys a house where you marry my daughter. You're going to acquire CDs and things that we've been putting away for her. That's not how we do things now. So this whole men providing thing is nonsense. It's a fallacy. That's not how it goes.
I
so.
don't
Ty, I got a question for you. You
True.
said that women cut the grass now. They pump the gas too. Like, and they have men. These women that are doing these things.
Yes, because these are households where they split these responsibilities is what. Of course, you still have those situations, as I say, dependent on the actual relationship. So, of course, you have those households where men do certain things and women do certain things, but they also have people that are deciding that they will split it down the line. So, women don't mind cutting grass because they did that before they met that man. So now they continue to help him out with those things. They take out the trash. They go they fix their own cars. I've literally been outside and watched a girl with her boyfriend behind her changing a tire. So I'm just saying, it's not the idea that you guys are having of traditional roles. I feel like it's only being focused on women and what women are lacking in a relationship. And I I just want to point out that it goes both ways, right? It's not a lack on either side. It's just things have changed. And now we're both realizing that we can both do these things. And probably if we both do, right, decide to help each other in these aspects, life gets a little easier, especially since life now is, more expensive, more, of a burden. It's harder, more stressful than it may have been before. And then going back
Always.
through real quick, I'm sorry. You were saying that before families came together, and they bought homes and things of that nature. Are we talking about Black people or are we talking in general?
No, we're talking about Black people too, because the church used to be the center of making sure that when a couple was looking to get married, that they would take up a collection amongst the community, and that marriage was facilitated amongst the community. So this idea again that you met a man that just had this great job and he made so much and that's not how it ever worked.
Yeah.
And so, I'm sorry.
No. I was about to cut you off. You
No, go
finish.
ahead. No, I'm just speaking to the fact that I think that does not get any credence. That it's this idea that, because when I hear women say, well, men were always to provide, men have actually never done this. If you look at how we've always built society, we've always had communities. We had groups of people in our tribes. We had the hunters, we had the leaders, we had the elders, and there was always a community approach to relationships. Always. We decided to break that. So because now we have individualism, we still want to take the benefit of men providing. That's nonsense. It's never been that way. And if you look at even the current day communities that are Middle Easterns, whites, Asians, it's the same. There are no men that just do one thing, then they do it great. Their whole families do everything. When they get married, they absorb resources. The whole weddings, 50,000, 80,000, 100,000. How you think that stuff is happening? Like, the families are doing it. Our community don't do that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead. I'm letting somebody else.
Okay. So I think it should just be a balance where no one is exhausted, right? Whatever that looks like. However, we pretend as if women aren't very comfortable with traditional roles. It all depends on what it is. I heard lawn mowing, but we're talking about 7.2% of women who actually mow lawns. That's minuscule, not even worth mentioning, to be honest. And if you're talking about household chores, we share those now. Somebody was trying to say something. Hold on,
Yeah, I was going to
I'm not
add
going
to
to take
it.
that long. Go ahead. What you going to say?
To your point, it was pumping gas, changing the tire, and mowing the lawn and taking the trash. So you might as well throw protection in too. If you got to do all those things as a woman, you don't got a man. Like I don't think that
Yeah,
man is
and
worth
I,
staying
I
with
I
you.
don't think that women should do that. No woman with me is going to do any of those, or not even touch trash or any of that. And I have never met a woman who said they would be uncomfortable with that. So that's why I say women are comfortable with those roles. And primarily, men are still the breadwinners. We're talking about 16% of women who may actually make more than their men. And then you got about 29% where it's just about kind of equal, but 55% of women enjoy the man being the primary or sole breadwinner. So we can't be, and that's most. 55% is most. So most women do enjoy the luxury of having a man as the primary breadwinner and are very comfortable with it. And I don't see anything wrong with it. So there are such things as traditional roles. I mean, men and women are completely different, and we have to understand that. But what I will say is, if you can do what you want, but if you want to enjoy the luxuries of gender role, then you have to take what else comes with that gender role.
All right, let me go ahead and get Kiki in there.
No, I'm just listening. I'm taking it all in. Um, I feel like gender roles should. I don't think they really matter in today's time. Do what you're supposed to be doing based off of whatever your relationship terms are. These are things you should have conversations about. Who's gonna take out the trash or whatever your concerns are, just so it's clear. Who's gonna mow the lawn, like yeah, I don't think it really matters. You should just communicate it. I think it's really simple. I don't think it's anything to really complicate.
Okay, so she's trying to say y'all was complicating it.